Former Prime Minister John Howard on the campaign again in Melbourne, working to try to sandbag three of the party's marginal electorates there. Let's go live to Julia Bradley in the seat of Higgins. Julia, it's always interesting watching John Howard. He usually goes where it's predicted he needs to go, i.e. where the Liberal Party thinks it needs to shore up support.
That's exactly right, Tom. So the seats that John Howard is targeting today, firstly, Chisholm, that was earlier this morning, a seat in Melbourne's east, an ultra-marginal electorate. Now he is at a pre-poll station in Higgins, which is Katie Allen's seat, and later he'll be heading to Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg's high-profile seat of Kooyong. But while John Howard's been here, he's been meeting with people at this pre-poll station. We might just see if we can listen in to what he's saying at the moment.
That's a ridiculous proposition.
But if they've got less to draw from, and then at the end of the day, they finish up with less.
But anybody who's got a lesser amount to draw from is not worse off because they can draw from the lesser amount.
Well, then do we help women have higher wages?
Oh, well, we're in favour of people being paid according to what they do, whether they're a man or a woman.
The lowest
Mr. Howard, we're just live on Sky News right now. Do you mind if I ask you a quick question? So
Yes,
just,
I don't mind.
Just on the Coalition's plan to use super for housing, we've heard the Superannuation Minister, Jane Hume, say that the Prime Minister's plan may drive up prices in the short term. Josh Frydenberg coming out this morning say that it won't. What's your assessment of it?
Well, I think Josh Frydenberg knows what he's talking about. I'm not saying Jane doesn't. Look, there are so many variables when it comes to fluctuations in the price of houses that you can't be any more specific than that. And this is an undoubted benefit for anybody who's saving for a home, because for the first time we're going to allow in a careful way people to access their super, and it's their money. This idea of the government co-owning your house, I don't like that at all.
But Mr. Howard, you've previously been critical of a plan to tap into super for housing. Why were you critical of it, sir?
Hello?
Mr. Howard meeting with voters here in Higgins. It's a Liberal heartland. It's actually been in Liberal hands ever since it was first created in 1972. So this visit from John Howard today, really that last-ditch attempt to sandbag some of these ultra-marginal Liberal seats in Melbourne.
It's interesting to note, isn't it? We know he's a very popular Prime Minister back in the day. He did end up losing his seat. But what's your perception so far of what voters are making of John Howard, Julie? You're doing well there to do your best to get questions on the super policy because it's a big one, but still pretty warmly received?
Very warmly received this morning. People very respectful of Prime Minister John Howard today. It's going to be a tight race in most of these marginal seats. John Howard was reflecting on that this morning in Chisholm and certainly here in Higgins as well. This was a seat that was actually the last stop on Labor leader Bill Shorten's so-called victory lap back in 2019. So there was a lot of confidence from Labor last time around that they'd win Higgins, but then it was actually won by Liberals' Katie Allen. She really defied all the odds and held on to that Liberal seat. So they're really hoping that the Liberals can hold on again this time around. Warmly received this morning, former Prime Minister John Howard here meeting with people from all ends of the political spectrum, people here campaigning for Labor, for the Greens, for the Liberals. He's been pretty friendly to all of them this morning.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to convince that Labor volunteer to cast their vote for for Katie Allen, but maybe he'll do his best. All right, we'll let you get back out there, maybe try to get some answers again there from John Howard. Julia Bradley out there in that electorate. Yes, it was one Labor turned aside too late last time. It did get a swing towards it, so it's seen as still in play, but perhaps Katie Allen, an established member there, might be able to hang on to it. We'll see.